Ooh, fancy graphics. This must mean it's a JD iRacing video. And it is. This week we are at Michigan International Speedway, the lovely mid-bank 2-mile D-shaped oval 16 miles west of downtown Detroit. This is also the sister track to Auto Club Speedway, but now will be the only 2-mile oval currently being raced on in major motorsports, given that they are disassembling California Motor Speedway now. We are also racing in the Indy... Okay, I just received a letter from legal saying Motorsports Games, famous for the fantastic and bug-free game of NASCAR 21 Ignition, the most perfect representation of NASCAR there ever been, and the famous and never released or mentioned, but still perfect and amazing in every way, NASCAR 22, probably called Ignition, as well as R-Factor, which has exclusive event rights to a digital 24-hour Le Mans, which went off without a hitch, was perfect and bug-free, as Max Verstappen can attest. This company has exclusive rights to IndyCar in video games. And that means the IndyCar name cannot in any way, shape, or form be used in other motorsports games, nor can you show a broadcast-like digital stream or video using IndyCar. Okay. Well, this just isn't IndyCar. Not in any way, shape, or form. It's the non-denominational open wheel motor cars series, or road, street, and oval courses of America. Yeah! Endow McSiffersoka. Hit it with the graphics. See? Completely different, and thus completely valid. Oh, hell hath no fury like a amateur graphic artist's scorn. But, all that considered, this is, of course, the Endow McSiffersoka League at Michigan International Speedway. We are racing 60 laps around here. I did not qualify. That's because I suck in these cars, apparently. I had a race previously where I just got tight, went up into the wall, took out some people. I felt really bad about that. But I did some research, and I looked up how the Endow McSiffersoka car handles. Oddly enough, the research notes were surprisingly similar to IndyCar. How about that? But there's some interesting things about this car. Particularly some of the in-car adjustments that you can make. Now, this is a fixed series, meaning, the suspension, the tire pressure, even the engine gear ratio and all that, that's all set beforehand. But there are 3 settings that you can mess around with while racing to help your car handle. Now, at road courses, it's not as big of an issue, but particularly at ovals, it is. Where you have, if you're going 200 plus miles an hour, the dirty air wake off your car is going to be atrocious. And these cars are fairly light. I mean, I want to think they're like 700 or 800 kilograms. They're lighter than an F1 car, I do know that. And for their oval packages, yes, they have these smaller wings, but that's really all you need. These corners are not very tight, so, the downforce that you're getting at 200 miles an hour is quite substantial. But when you get into the wake of another car, that's going to suddenly take that all away. And your car is just going to drive right up the track and potentially into someone else, especially at a track like this where you can get 3 and 4 wide. It can be very treacherous. Now we're pulling out here, but the three adjustments that you can make. The first is to your fuel mapping. Now, I covered this last time in my Vegas race. There are 8 settings that you can have for your fuel. 1 through 5 are based on your power. So 1 being the most rich, 5 being the most lean, but still being able to maintain speed. 6 and 7 are used primarily for road courses. 6 is sort of a low-end torque control, where 7 is like higher-end torque out of the lower end of the gears. And then 8 is for pace laps. See there, I've got my Endow McSiffersoka stickers on my car, so that way you cannot be confused with IndyCar. Some other people are trying to pose and think that they have a IndyCar. I don't know why they managed to do that. They apparently didn't get the memo, but in case there's any confusion. The second thing that you can mess around with is your anti-roll bars. You can mess with the front and rear. The front is more sensitive. The rear is not quite as much, so you usually have a lower setting for the rear, a higher setting for the front. Make sure to keep everything stable, particularly on the front aero. And the last you have is your weight jacker. And this helps change the balance of the car to make it a little bit looser or a little bit tighter, which is really great for when you're in the draft. So you're going to actually, I don't know if you're going to see the switches in all the move, but I am going to be adjusting those while I'm in the draft and in these packs here. So the pace car is going in, and we are going green. The leader takes a huge jump well before the Geico restart zone. And we are off racing here in Michigan. Now, Michigan is an interesting track. It is so large. It is a 2-mile D-shaped oval. And that means you're pretty much going almost all out around the track. Unless you're behind a car, you may have to lift a little bit. But that's because you're doing almost 230 miles an hour into the turns. There's only one track on the IndyCar or Endow McSiffersoka circuit that reaches these speeds, and that's Indianapolis. Now, the name of the game for these is to try and stay out of the wake of dirty air while you're in the corners, but to stay in the draft on the straightaways to make sure you maximize your speed and you don't lose the draft. Now, the draft is about 1 second behind, so it's actually pretty difficult to lose the draft as long as you're maintaining the speed, especially with how close these cars are. And the further up you get, the actual slower you get, it's harder to pull away as the leader just because the draft is so powerful. You see, I'm trying to dive down, try to get just a little bit of my wing into the cleaner air further up front. I really don't want to follow the car immediately in front of me. It's actually better to follow the car that's ahead of him than it is otherwise. Now in this, I'm actually setting the weight jacker to +4. That's giving me a little bit more turn through there and control. Oh, and we got a caution car up in the wall. Oh, almost looks like that person did not get the weight jacker in the right position. We will be taking a look at that. But he just shot up into the wall. Looked like a little bit of contact from the yellow Pennzoil car. This is going to be a tough race if we're in a caution only 4 laps in. But I at least managed to stay out of trouble. That's a good thing. Now, no one goes into the pits here as we all kind of group ourselves around. Let's take a look back and see what happened there. See the NVIDIA car here takes the middle line and yep, he just gets tight and goes right into him. That's that adjustment that he should have made during the race, but he didn't. Just caused him to take out a car. No fault of his own here. He was actually making the lines when Pennzoil came up and took one out. That's unfortunate. Just goes to show you how sensitive these cars are. Now again, no one's going into the pits here. It's far too early, except for maybe Pennzoil to fix some damage. I think it's time to take a word from our sponsors.
in a world always on the move. A little robot has been left outside, all alone. As a storm approaches, he is about to go on his greatest adventure yet. But stars in Rainy Daydreams.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little trailer from Rainy Daydreams. I am nearly done with it. Last time I checked, I'm at about 92%. I've only got about 2 or 3 more scenes to fully render out, and then it will be released, so I am on track to finishing it by the end of this month. I'm excited for it. Now we're coming around. We're coming up to the green flag here. Pace car is down on the apron, going into the pits. Now, something you may notice is that IndyCar is a little bit different than NASCAR. NASCAR, they group you up too wide. And we got the green flag here, but IndyCar does not. They usually start 3 wide. Now, I get a decent start. The car behind me does not. I feel a pretty decent gap here. And you see 2 packs really forming. I'm kind of in the straggler pack just behind the first, the lead pack here, and then there's the second pack just barreling down on us. But yeah, NASCAR and IndyCar, while they're similar in their oval racing in some regards, they do have some different rules. First of all, NASCAR tries to get a little bit more into the entertainment sphere, where they like to end under green. So there will be a green-white checker for NASCAR, but not for IndyCar. The other thing is, they start single file after the start. The only track that does 3 wide starts at the beginning is Indianapolis. That's just based on tradition, but every other track they usually do 2 wide. But starts always single file. And the third thing is, if you're a lap down, you're a lap down. No lucky dog. Now, if you do stay out and the leaders go into pits, you can get the waiver out. But that's it. That also means that lap cars can be an issue during the race. Now you see the gap between me and the leaders, and the guy behind me, he's staying relatively close, but I'm still within the draft, so I'm still having to adjust my my weight jacker just to try and keep things tidy through the corners. Fortunately, I don't have any cars around me, at least on my top or bottom side here, so I'm not at risk of getting super tight and going into someone, but I'm still trying to maintain my cornering because I want to make sure my tires stay relatively clean. Now, if you look at that pink car that's ahead of me, he was racing rather aggressively, and he's gonna be involved in some incidences. I remember racing with it. He had like a 17X or something like that by the end of the race. It was kind of nuts. Just a bunch of problems there, just a little too aggressive. These cars, you have to be careful with them. They are very fragile. I mean, open wheel racing warrants you to not rub fenders. Plus these cars, you know, you can easily break the suspension. You can upset the body. You can take off a wing real easy. So you really have to take care of the car, where NASCAR, yeah, you can rub a fender. You can rub the wall a little bit, it's fine. Now the other thing to note is the speed differential. Endau Mixifrosoka cars are some of the fastest cars in motorsports. Ooh, you see me getting a little bit loose there coming out of the corner. Now, Endau Mixifrosoka cars can do in excess of 230 miles an hour. We're actually probably doing about 230. Ooh, getting a little bit dicey there. We're doing about 230 miles an hour into that corner. And IndyCar does fairly much the same, but F1, usually they're topping out at 220 on some of the longest straights, say like at Monza or something like that. NASCAR, they're barely topping 200 anymore. Even in their heyday in the 80s, when the cars were at their most powerful, they were still only doing about 215, 220, so they couldn't even compete with these cars. So these things are the fastest, which does also warrant a bit of a danger factor as well. But it means you need to have quick hands, and you're also really got to train your body, because you're dealing with 3, 4, 5 Gs laterally, much like you do in IndyCar, or much like you do in F1 as well. Despite the length of these corners, you're still pulling quite a bit of force, especially at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is really rough on the body. See the leaders going 3 wide there. Because of the width of this track, you can do that. And it's surprising that they're able to keep it clean. And you see, I've worked my way back up to this lead pack, slowly reeled them in, coming up really close to, it's like a Scott Dixon car. That's cool. Yeah, his name is Dixon. That's funny. But you've got this pack here, a couple of stragglers, and then the back pack there. Ooh, and a bump there takes off the wing of that car. He's up in the wall. Oh, nope, the wing, I guess, sunk back on. But he went up into the wall. That car is damaged and was falling back. Just a little bit of rough driving from that pink car, but I'm able to capitalize and gain a position. But the Red Bull car comes to my inside. This is allowing this pack to kind of catch back up, and we sort of homogenize into one big group again. That's the thing with pack racing is, you know, you can lose 3 positions and gain 3 positions all in one lap. Now, you may be asking yourself, you know, about the driving lines around here. Now, typically you'd think going the shortest way around this track is probably the best. That worked at Vegas. Me hugging that bottom line in IndyCar, back when it was still allowed to be called IndyCar, that was the quickest line around. But around Michigan, because it's so much wider, the banking is not quite as high, and the speeds are so much higher. You know, the Endau Mixifrosoka cars are, you know, you're able to get faster into the corner and through the corner on the bottom line, but you're faster on the top line on the straights. So you gotta be careful of runs if you're taking the bottom line, but you've also gotta be, you know, conscious of how much time you're losing. The top line seemed to actually be a little bit better during race conditions, but the bottom line was safer because you could catch the car going up the track. Now you see me being rather bold here, taking the purple car on the inside and taking the black and yellow car there. Now he's going to get the run back out of the corner, just he has the better line exiting out. So he's going to get me on the run here, but I was mainly just diving down just to, you know, avoid giving him a little Endau Mixifrosoka car enema. Now you will sometimes see cars dive down onto the apron. Now in NASCAR, that is perfectly valid. You can actually get a pretty quick line doing it. The cars aren't aerosensitive enough that, you know, that can, you know, that really won't upset the car all that much. Yeah, no, except for Soka cars, because of how aero dependent they are, they've also got a bit of ground effect on the cars as well. If you do that, it could cause a spin, much like it did with Vegas. You see, I'm getting really close up to him. The car is actually handling really well. I'm managing my tires well. The weight jacker is in the right position that I'm able to get close to him. You see, I'm getting an almighty run into turn 1. To be honest, I don't really want to be up there. I've seen how kind of dodgy they've been. Red Bull takes me on the outs, or it's taking pink on the outside. Purple's taking me on the outside. We are past the halfway point. We are now going lap 23 laps down here. And we've been going green for quite some time. Good clean racing, good pack racing here. Now, cars are really giving themselves respect with the exception of Pink door slamming that one guy. I don't think he realized he didn't have doors anyways. And to be honest, it could have also been a little bit of lag, a little bit of net coding, but given the incidents that he had afterwards, kind of doubt him a little bit. Now you may notice the except for Soka cars are similar-ish to IndyCar in that they have only 2 manufacturers, denoted by the stickers on the cars. You have Honda and you have Chevrolet. I'm of course racing in a Chevrolet. It just so happens that those same manufacturers have the same contracts then except for Soka as they would IndyCar. You know, oh, getting a little bit dicey there. Car dives down there to avoid Pink. Pink being really aggressive through there. Another door slamming incident, or a near one. But things seem to tidy back up behind us. Ooh, getting down to the apron, that is treacherous. You get down to the apron, you will spin if you're not careful. Especially with how loose you have to make these cars to sort of stay, basically stay straight in the pack. Now, Pennzoil is a lap down here, so he is not for position, but he was able to get the car repaired and was fairly competitive. I believe he was ranked number 1 in this lobby. The lobby was a 1.7? I think that's what it says. My eyesight's not great. Yeah, it's a 1.7 lobby, or 1700 lobby. I'm right in there at the point of this race. Top guys in this were 2100s. Now, I don't know if this was second split. I believe it was. Some of the IndyCar and N-Down except for Soka drivers are very competitive, so it does not surprise me if there was a lobby filled with people much higher than this. Now, the thing is, with lapped cars, you know, they don't have to yield the position. They want to fight to get their lap back. It's very hard when you go a lap down. It's not like in NASCAR where you get the lucky dog, but, you know, that's racing. And this is traditionally how it was. The lucky dog thing was a relatively new addition into NASCAR, I think back in early to mid 2000s. I'm not exactly sure when that started. Hell, back then they actually used to start you single file, where on the right side they were the cars on the lead lap, and on the left side were the lap down cars. So you could fight to get your lap back. It was kind of interesting. You see, I'm trying to take that high line to get around this white car here. Managed to get a decent run, trying to get both the draft. It's like a Haas car almost. Don't think it quite is. I just can't read what's on his car. But I, of course, am racing in my mom's chicken farm and JD's chicken feed and tackle car with Chick-fil-A as a sponsor, mainly because I like Chick-fil-A, not because they actually sponsor me. It would be cool if they did, because I love their chicken sandwiches. Spiced chicken sandwiches are my favorite. Hashtag sponsored but not really, because YouTube would ding me. I don't get any money for this, I just do this for my own entertainment. Now at this point in the race, you're realizing that we're starting to get up to our fuel window. Now, fuel window in these cars is about 35 to 40 laps, depends on how much clean air you're getting. If you're in the clean air, you're dipping down to actually probably close to 32, 33 laps for a full tank of 18.5 gallons worth of fuel. I don't care about the liters. If you do, you got a calculator, it's fine. So we're getting pretty close to that window. Given the caution flag at lap 4, that has sort of pushed things back, so we're looking at probably green flag pit stops starting around lap 37, 38. Certainly for the leaders that they've stayed out there the entire time. Ooh, I had to check up real good. Let's purple car dive down, a car up in the wall. But we stay green. Things are getting dicey up front. Another car up in the wall. Oh, and we got a caution. Oh, shoot, and spinning up the front. Car up in the wall there. Looked like it was either the first or second place car got taken out by Pink. We will definitely look back on that one. Goodness. So a lot of calamity, but this is a nice sigh of relief because now lap 35, we can make it to the end if we pit. I remember hearing there was a guy on the radio saying, "Oh, thank goodness for that. It sucks for him, but thank goodness for us." Now, it is to be expected. Most of these cars are going to pit. The only person up here that looks like he's pitted is the 6th place car, number 3. Looks like he pitted in the first caution. Anyone with a yellow marker there, that will show their pit, what lap they pitted on. Very useful, especially when you're trying to get around a car if you know you have clean tires. Really helpful in NASCAR in particular. But you see, most of the leaders are going into the pits here. Only one car staying out. I believe he is a lapped car, so he's got to do another lap around before he can pit. Pull into our stall. Of course, you can clip through other cars in the pits. That is very useful. Get into my stall. Perfect stop there. The boys pull off all 4 tires, put them on, fill me up with fuel, just enough to get me going on a couple laps extra just in case I want to push it. And we are out. We beat the number 3 out as he spins almost a little bit going out there. And we gain a couple of positions. We move up into 5th. So 2 positions there, not too shabby. Props to the Myron's Chicken Farm boys there. Get me a very quick pit stop. About I think it was 7.1, 7.2 seconds. Very quick. Especially compared to NASCAR. But let's take a look back and see what happened here. So this is further back in the pack. See, Red Bull takes out, so it actually even wasn't for the wall car. It was just the Red Bull car. Took out the American flag car. That's unfortunate. Ooh, and he's kind of stuck in the grass. Not able to get out there, but let's watch on board with the car that got kind of pinched here. He gets an almighty run here on the slower flag car, and then just, and flips the... Was that Red Bull or Mobile? I don't know what was on that car, but he gets kind of screwed. So it was really his fault there. That's unfortunate. Now let's take a look and a bit forward and see what happened with the leaders. The caution flag was out at this point. And you see they're racing hard here. And watch his steering wheel. You'll see it start to flash yellow when the caution comes out. There it is. So now they're supposed to back off. He dives up a little bit and just clips him and takes him out. So that's... that sucks. Let's watch from the replay and watch the guy here. Now, he was in second place when the caution came out, but he had a run still and just gets clipped. Now, he was trying to pinch him. Hard racing, I get it. But caution was out at that point. And now his race is done. Alrighty, I think it's time to take a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Nestled by the waters of Swansea, in the humble and quiet hillsides lay the finest chickens in all of Wales, freely roaming the countryside of this lovely Welsh coast, fed the finest grains to ensure the highest quality, always tended to with the utmost care, and brought fresh to your dinner table. We make sure nothing but the best is provided for your family. We pride ourselves with our unmatched quality, and you'll find the best chickens come from Mom's Chicken Farm. We feed ours the best, so you can feed yours the best. Mom's Chicken Farm, official sponsor of GLR Esports.
Do you like a bit of racing, lads? Do you love a lash of Guinness? Of course you do. Every real man does. Now you know it makes sense. Come join GLR for some fantastic racing. And sub here so you don't miss a thing. Come to the lounge and pour yourself a glass of the glorious black stuff we know as Guinness. And know that you're home. GLR Esports.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed our little shameless plug for the channel. And also for Mom's Chicken Farm and JD's Chicken Feed and Tackle. We feed them the best, so they taste the best. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the YouTubey things. Again, thank you, Mikey, for recording that. Love you dearly, buddy. Now I get to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. You know, we're on fresh tires. Got fuel to the end. What's really cool is the auto fuel function really does work in this car. It's great. You can basically set it for 2 laps and you're good to go to the end. It's pretty nice. Now you see the pace car. He dives down onto the apron, pulls into the pits, and we are green. The leader takes off. I get a just terrible start. I actually started in second gear, not in first. End up getting bunched up there. Just a bad start for me. Just habits from NASCAR. You do want to start in second gear in NASCAR so you don't really spin the tires too much, but you still get a pretty good amount of power. First gear is a little too short in those cars, but in this one you want to start in first gear. Gear ratios on these things are long. But the cars are light and they're powerful, so they can really roll through it. Now let's talk a little bit about the suspension, or not the suspension, the transmission in these cars. These are 6-speed. But the way that they're geared is gears 1 through 4 really sort of push you up to close to your top speed. 5th and 6th gear are very short and are used to kind of push you just a little bit higher. 5th gear is good for power, to maintain speed throughout the track if you're in open air. 6th gear is good in the draft and can actually push you a little bit higher in top speed, especially in the draft. Where at this track with the gear ratios we have, pushing up to 230 is really only possible in 6th gear. In NASCAR though, it's actually a little bit of the same thing. Gears 1 through 4 kind of push you up to your top speed, and the 5th gear is almost like a half gear. And so that just kind of helps push you a little bit to the higher top speeds, and really all it needs. Both are sequential gearboxes, so you can roll right through them pretty good. I believe in NASCAR you do still need to... Actually, you don't need to use the clutch. You can blip your throttle. But in these, you don't even need to do that. They're a proper sequential gearbox. Great onboard cameras here on the Endowment Super car. We'll look behind us briefly, and really we've got a good amount of distance behind. This pack is kind of broken away. Looks like it's the top 7 cars and that lapped Pennzoil car. And then it's over a second. Actually, no, it's exactly a second to the 8th place car behind me. Now we're going to look to his inside there. Not really trying to make a move happen. I'm just sort of still loitering back here. It's, you know, we have 17 laps to go here. It's still a long while. And you see 8th place is catching up. He managed to break away from his pack there. The car behind him is 1.2 seconds away. Not really in his draft much anymore, but he is firmly in mine, so new player has entered the battle. 9th car has entered the fray. Purple gets really high up on the track there. Fortunately does not hit the wall. Good driving all around here. And you see I'm looking to the inside there. I'm really not trying to make any moves happen. I'm just sort of putting my car where his car is not. But we're quickly approaching 10 laps to go. I mean, it's 13 to go right now. I should start thinking about how I want to make moves to move forward. You know, granted, I am happy just, being able to handle this car, really understanding how the weight jacker affects the car. I am actively changing it. I've got a couple of sticks on my wheel to make adjustments on the fly, really making it helpful. See, I check up there just a little bit. We ride on board here. You see, I'm just trying to get my wing down just below to get some of that cleaner air, just a little bit, just to help get the car around. Helps take a lower line, then I've got cars on the outside too. Ooh, a little bit of contact there, but I think everything is okay. Red Bull gets a terrible run out of that corner. We're going to go around him, gain position here. Oh, and he is falling back quite a bit. I think something might be broken in that car. Ooh, I get a little bit tight there coming out of that corner. got to adjust the weight jacket just a little bit more, but I end up losing a position. That is just unfortunate. And he gets down the apron. Oh, and he gets loose and hikes up the track, and the caution is back out. Got forced a little bit below the yellow line there by Pink, it would seem. We'll take a look back and see for sure. Now we're just waiting for the pace car to come back around. Given that it was out of turn 4, gotta let the pace car all go by. Now the thing is, I'm debating, do I need the fresh tires? Do I want the track position? We've only had about 10 laps, give or take, on the tires. By the time we go green, it will be probably close to 5 or 6 to go. It's lap 52 into 53, 7 laps to go here. Do I stay out? Do I go in? Do I stay out? Do I go in? Basically, I'm going to kind of see what the cars ahead of me do. Now, Pennzoil, of course, is a lap down, so we're going to ignore him. Leaders stay out. Pink stays out. Oh, one car goes in. But I decide, no, I'm not going to. So let's look back and see what happened there. So he dives to the inside, and Pink really forced him down. Granted, I don't think he expected him to be there. But in overcompensating there, gets down there, and ooh, clips the other car there as he goes up. Car doesn't look too damaged, but getting clipped there. Now let's watch on board from me here. This is what I'm seeing. I see him go down, and it's just, keep my foot in, keep my foot in. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Get around him. Woo. Very close. Let's look back on the car just behind me. Now, you see him get down onto the apron, slides up, and just nails the front left tire. Now, damage didn't quite fully sink. You see that the car kind of repaired itself. And I think it was just on his screen. I think he managed to just avoid it. Or maybe it clipped a part of the side pod just ever so slightly, but at least he made it through. Now, we are going to stay here on this, so no more commercials. I've already done 3. But now we gotta ramp it up again, because we'll be going green this time around. And it will be 6 laps to go coming to the flag. Things are going to get dicey. And we all file in single file here. I actually remember to shift mine into first. But my friend up at front did not. But I at least stay on his bumper. We're not too far behind. The trio at the front seemed to get away pretty good. And for me, I'm going to try and dispatch Pennzoil. Actually, you know, I think he is on the lead lap. That is... okay, I was wrong. I was mistaken. There was another car that was a lap down. It was not Pennzoil. No, I've been wrong this whole broadcast. Oh well. Kind of the hard thing about not knowing... well, actually not seeing the numbers on the cars. But we're starting to pull back in the podium positions. Now the guy behind me was the one that clipped the guy spinning, so apparently the damaged model did not sink on his car, so he is actually without any damage. Good for him. But that means things are going to get a little bit close for me. So I'm going to stay right in the draft, try to catch up. You see the shifting indicator blinking. I'm right at the top end of the revs there. First and second place are battling it pretty hard. Pink in third is looming, and Pennzoil here in fourth, and me in fifth. We are getting very close as we come up to 3 to go. Now they start really bunching up. Only about 0.4 seconds between us all. As 6th place seems to have fallen off a little bit, not too much of a threat. Only a second behind me. I come to the inside of Pink just a little bit, but back out. So my car gets a little bit tight coming up, and he comes down on the track. Good defensive driving, a little aggressive, but hey, it's racing. 2 to go now. See, we're going 3 wide there at the leaders in front. I take a high line there, trying to stay as much out of the wake as I can. Oh, and Pennzoil gets spun sideways by Pink there. I move up 2 spots, and the caution flag is out. Now, as we're coming to the white flag, this will be the end of the race. Pink managed to keep his straight, so he gets a 4th position. Unfortunately, Pennzoil there does go a lap down and falls back to 16th. That's heartbreaking. Just destroyed his race, but good on the Scott Dixon car. He's the one that won. Good for him. Good win, smart racing. Kept it clean. Really moved forward right when he needed to. Good on 2nd place, Mr. Winsey. And I pick up bronze in the Marm's Chicken Farm car here. That was good racing. IndyCar is stressful because you're just going so darn quick. Plus, you're having to do a lot more adjustments than you are in a Cup car. A Cup car, a lot of the adjustments that you're doing is in the wheel and in the brakes. Or an Indy car, it's all that and dealing with your aero and your weight balance of the car. So we come to the checkered flag here. Rather unceremonious end, but hey, that's traditional racing. But let's take a look back. Yeah, you see cars just passing through the pace car now. Let's take a look back and see what happened there. So Pink goes to the inside of Pennzoil through turn 1. He tries to compensate, goes up a little bit high, but then comes down a little bit, tries to maintain his line. Pink goes up into that 3rd line while Pennzoil was still there, so I think it's still on Pink for spinning him. He kept his car straight, so he managed to save the position, but that's kind of sucky. Let's watch on board with Pennzoil here. We'll watch the back end. You see, he's safely in the 3rd lane, just gets flipped. Really trying to lock it down. Car scattering. Ooh, Red Bull goes through him. Oh, that is a hard hit. Unfortunate. Yeah, it's clear the suspension is broken there and his race is done. He's fallen back to the bottom end of the tail end of the lead lap. But that's just unfortunate. Well, I think that will do it. Again, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the YouTube things. It really does help support us. And if you like racing, feel free to join our Discord. We do racing in GT7, we do ACC, I do iRacing. Pretty much anything with cars, and we'll race. We'll have some fun. Plus, we'll play some other things too. We're a good group of guys here. As long as you like Guinness, you're good in our book. Alright, see you around in the next one. Bye-bye.